Waiting for it to pop up on Facebook. Yay, awesome. We are live. Oh my goodness. It took us a couple of glitches with Facebook, but you know what? If it weren't for this technology, we couldn't be talking to you now. So we are grateful. Yay! All right. My name is Barbara Bolton Schreiber, and I am the founder of Sisters Rocking Courage. And what we do with Sisters Rocking Courage is to bring women together, if you don't know already, is to bring women together to help them find their voice, stand in their power, spread hope, and make an impact while also achieving financial independence. So it is such an honor today to be talking with Rhoda Omejia. She's a new friend that I met through Clubhouse. For those of you who are hesitant to get into Clubhouse, oh my goodness, there's so much richness and just beautiful relationships there. So in the short time I've known Rhoda, we've had conversations about our stories and how they're similar. And I'm just really looking forward to getting to know Rhoda, to introducing you to Rhoda today, because I know we have, when we met, it was almost instant connection. Rhoda, we've talked about this, about how we just knew that we had to connect with each other because there was something there. So please do introduce yourself to the women of Sisters Rocking Courage.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. It's an honor, Barbara. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here. I'm just blessed to be able to have connected with you, and just like you mentioned, it was just one of those things that it wasn't sad, but it was just that genuine connection. So I'm excited this morning for us to talk a little bit about me. My name is Rhoda Omejia. I am located in Dallas, Texas, married to my husband, Taurus. We've been married for 8 years. And then we have a little daughter, but we just do life together, and we love to just our big thing we love to do is to grow wealth, which we're all in that process of. So we are passionate about just finding out what can we do to change our family history. So but professionally, I am a women empowerment coach and also a relationship coach. And what I love to do is to just help women, moms, wives, to be able to come alongside journey with you as you navigate that season that you're in, and to help you create systems that can help you walk out your God-given purpose. A lot of us feel unfulfilled, and I was that woman that felt unfulfilled, that, just identify, oh, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, but what else? There was this nagging feeling in the back of my mind that made me feel like, there was more to me. So I am so passionate about just, after I went ahead and rediscovered myself, I'm passionate about helping others rediscover themselves and become that woman that God has called you to be. So that's a little bit about me. And thank you.
Absolutely. Well, and Rhoda, as you're saying that, two things come to mind. One is that as we are all wearing those hats, wife, mother, stepmother, whatever that looks like, is we feel like we're doing it alone. We're oftentimes so overwhelmed with going from here to there and multitasking that we don't even think that there could be other women out there that could be helping us, making life go easier. And even if it's just that whole sharing a little bit of our burdens so we don't carry them by ourselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very important to have, that backing. So we don't carry them by. There are so many people that I call it your tribe, or your village, however you want to call it. You can have professional people, you can have mentors, and then you can also have, professional sense of counselor. You can also have a coach, but you are not supposed to do life alone, and you're not supposed to navigate all these hats and all these roles alone. And it's very important. I had to realize that early on and get some personal development to be able to navigate life more clearly, because those things you go through, they serve as a barrier. They block
yeah
finding you from advancing forward. So it's important to have that support.
Well, and the way we used to live, we had that support because our grandparents, when we lived with our parents and grandparents, we had those natural coaches, right? Because you don't generally do things wrong in grandma's eyes. I mean, that can be I know that my grandmother and I had a really great relationship. So it's just interesting as we've become independent family units, how much more we've evolved into doing things as silos by ourselves, not recognizing that we do need that outside encouragement sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how has life changed for you since because you were talking about you married your college sweetheart, which is so awesome. And it even with that, it took a while for you to figure out how to find your voice and show up more fully for him as a wife and as a mother. How has life changed for you?
Well, I always joke about this, but this is my reality. I came into my marriage with, so many baggages, like so many of us, and I got the baggages, and they were things, dysfunction and just issues from my family of origin that I brought into my marriage, and they caused so many problems, just blending with the fact that I didn't know who I was. Um,
Right.
and I just didn't know my purpose. I didn't have any, I went to college, had a degree, and I know that I'm supposed to get a job and work, but that's it. And
Mhm.
then when things kind of shifted with my dynamic, I was just feeling lost. I just felt like, okay, why am I here? Why am I living? What is my purpose on this earth? So I just found myself feeling in the shadows of life, and just, in the shadow of my husband, to say, because, I found a purpose in just encouraging him to walk in his purpose.
Mhm.
Watching him do what he was doing and love what he was doing, it was exciting. But after a while, I kept telling myself, oh, once he's there, then I will start doing something. That was a great
Yeah.
excuse. But when
Mhm.
is he there? And what, do we ever get there? Do we ever get, to say, oh, I'm completely done? So yeah, I felt like, I don't like to use this word, but I feel kind of jealous, in a way,
I
and
do.
just um very unfulfilled is will be the word. I just felt like I wasn't happy, I wasn't satisfied, and I was just existing. So that was very, very a painful period, a painful season, and I went on to seek personal development
Mhm.
and of the journey. First, it started with God, of course, and then it went on to personal development. So yeah.
Sure. Well, there's a part of that when you said about the jealous that resonated with me because there's a part of it that says, when is it my time? Like, when do I get to live what I want? And honestly, for me, I think similar to you is our time comes when we embrace it.
Yeah.
So we're talking today about simply saying no. When you said about not knowing who you were, I was yes, girl. I said yes to everything, everything from carrying other people's pain and baggage, carrying my own baggage. I'll keep carrying it. I'm strong. I can do this. And then when people said, will you do this? Will you do that? Yeah, yeah. I had energy. I can do that. I can tackle everything. And I didn't know who I was.
Yeah. Yeah, and I used to always say, "Oh, I feel like my husband became a casualty of a war that was going on the inside of me.
Yeah.
Um, just me, that we are all fighters. We have something inside of us that, like that I talked about, that nagging feeling, something that is just pulling you, like, you
Mm,
for more. There is
yeah.
some problem on this earth you're put on this earth to solve. So, but then with all the dysfunction and all the issues, and you talked about carrying my baggage, and yes, to everyone's baggage, it was just so, you find yourself drowning. Eventually, you're just drowning. You're just in that despair, and in that season of just getting more lost in the midst of all of life and people and family and everything. So yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting because as we were exploring, like just simply saying no, and the word simple is like saying no can be one of the hardest things. But we look at yes and no as black and white, good and bad, right or wrong, and not necessarily knowing, especially as us as trauma survivors, not knowing if we're saying yes to the right thing or no to the wrong thing, that whole, because of trying to be protective of ourselves. And for me, I had to start looking at saying no to the things I didn't want in my life. No, I don't want that in my life. No, that's not going to help me going forward.
Right, right.
What tips do you have? How did that journey work for you when you started saying, I'm going to step into what my purpose is?
Well, that journey began, like I mentioned, began with God. It just began with knowing who I am, first of all.
Mhm.
Who um, and that's a big question we're probably all still journeying through life discovering, because I like to say it's a lifelong journey. It's not something you're gonna be able to say, oh, I know who I am today, because we're always evolving. You know who you are now, but as we become, better, we improve. That person doesn't change, but you become more refined, if I will put it that way,
I
in
like that.
simple. So over the years, I found myself, like he's mentioned, saying yes to everyone, not knowing. You could ask me my favorite color, and I'm just like, I think it's this, is that, and at one point, I just didn't even know which one was my favorite color. I struggled to make decisions. My husband will get frustrated because he'll ask me a simple question, and I don't know what to say, and
Yeah.
I will have them choose, because hey, I don't know how to choose for myself. I don't know what I want. I don't know where to go. So the journey began with just discovering from the word of God who I am. Who does God says I am? How did he create me? And what was his purpose for creating me? I discover that person and just reading the word and confessing those affirmations over myself. Because once you know the worth, right? Once you
Yeah.
know your worth, it positions you to be able to say, you know what? No. Did you say that? No. And like you said, it's such a
Yeah.
simple, oh, how can it be so hard? But
Mhm.
it is one of those things that I started saying no, I feel myself shake. Like I panic a little bit. Like, did you just say no? Like
Mhm.
how, because it's become a pattern, it's become a lifestyle. You've practiced just saying yes to people all the time. So when you say no, the whole, your body, your being is like aware now of a new person, you
Yeah.
know, announcing someone else, and it's like, wow, what happened?
Well, it's part of your confidence journey too, because as we start saying no, we can feel into if that matches for us or not. And so
Yeah,
as we start doing that, I know that there's a couple of things that people have asked me to do, and I'm like, nope, did that earlier in my journey, and I don't need to go back and do it again. And when you have the confidence, when you know where you're going. And I speak
mhm,
of this with us as trauma survivors because we get accused of squirrel syndrome or shiny object syndrome because that hypervigilance is trying to keep us safe. So all of a sudden we're like, oh, we can do this and we can do that. Oh, and this person needs help. And oh, I can help them if that's what our identity was. But once
yeah,
we know what our path is, all of a sudden we know that there's other people there to help in their own way. Just
yeah.
like you and I really do work with similar women, but we do
Mm,
different things. So it's not like we're bumping into each other at all. And if
right,
somebody comes to me and really wants to work with their relationship, it's easy for me to say, I don't do that, but my friend Rhoda does that.
yeah,
And so to know what our gifts are, that we can do better than anybody else and to stay in that lane, it really, I have goosebumps right now because it helps us be better friends,
yeah.
better spouses, better, like even in our family units, whether
Right.
that be family of origin or adopted family or whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
Brenny's watching us from Switzerland, and she's saying, so true. And stop saying no to the things I want as a huge step for me. Oh, I didn't even think about that. We do say no to what we really want.
Yeah, yeah.
We stop ourselves.
We do. I literally found myself, and a friend of mine pointed it out. We went to the store. This is a simple example. And I had a cart shopping for, clothes and different things for my family. And the entire cart was full with my husband and my daughter. And she looked at me,
Oh,
she said, do you have anything in this cart? I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Rhoda, the whole cart is full with stuff for your family, not you. And I said, I don't need anything. And she was like, yes, you do. She's like, you came to shop, right? And I said, yeah. And she said, well, look in the cart. And that was like a one aha moment for me, because I stood there thinking, wow, you must really not like yourself. You don't even care about yourself enough to remember you came here to shop. And the beautiful thing about shopping in person is you are seeing what you like and you're picking.
yes.
But then I'm in person, I'm picking things up that is not for me, not because I don't like the other people, so or I should say I shouldn't pick things for them,
Right.
but the picture here is, sorry, the picture here is I'm picking things for someone else because I'm not there. I don't know who I am. I'm not present with myself. I haven't I haven't discovered myself. I haven't come to acknowledge my needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prioritize myself, and I keep myself in the back of things. So I'm after all of them are satisfied, maybe I just might think about myself after they have everything they need. Just maybe then I might matter. But over time, it becomes a pattern where you don't even matter and you keep putting yourself back. And we treat people how we treat ourselves.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting because I always came from a places of when they're happy, then I will be happy.
Yeah.
And you're right, it becomes a pattern. And then after a while, you don't even know what restaurant you would like to eat at because it doesn't matter, is what I always said. It doesn't matter. I'll be happy no matter where we go. And that was a journey to get to a place. I love the visual of having a cart filled with things for everybody but you.
Yeah.
That is a great picture of our lives.
Yeah. Mm.
Wow. So I thank your friend who pointed that out to you for that story to be brought here, because I do have goosebumps.
Yeah.
That's so
I
yeah, there's a piece of it in that, like what is it that we should challenge the women who are watching? Like that's such a huge visual.
Yeah, I just want to challenge you today. Like, you love these people. We love our family. We're caregivers, right? We're naturally groomed and we're naturally programmed, I will say, because, a computer program, my husband works in the computer field. When they set things in motion, it produces that over time,
Mhm.
like old and do all those things in the background, the results they want produces for a long time. And it's hard to go for those results to change. You have to go in the back end and reprogram
Oh, yeah.
things around. So I will say to you today, I hear you, I see you, I understand you, and we're giving you virtual hug because we know what and we want you to understand that you're not alone, but it's never too late. It's never late. And you have you have a position today as you listen to us today sharing our story, that you can take a stand and make sure that not shop for your family and put those things in the cart, which is amazing.
Mhm.
uh, but make sure that, hey, if you wanted a purse that you've been wanting and you went store, and it's okay for you to grab that purse for you. It's okay to prioritize yourself. It's okay to give of what you need and put yourself first. Because if you are healthy and you are your cup is full and running over, you can give them more love. You can serve them more. They will be more happy with a healthier you. It's,
Mhm.
it's I
Yeah,
hope that's fun.
it's perfect. Absolutely, because that's part of the journey. And what we can be hesitant of is for it to look like we're being selfish. Bonnie's watching us from Canada. She says it's never too late to be you and care for you and love you. And
Yeah,
that's not selfish.
no, it's not.
We can't be the most powerful version of ourselves if we're always living small, if we're
Yeah,
always saying yes to everybody else. Yeah. So part of your story that really rang true for me, and I guess,
oh,
yeah, if you're comfortable talking with some of it, your younger years, you grew up in Liberia. And
yeah,
when you talk about bringing the war into your marriage, you've seen and really lived through some big trauma. So we're not talking from this higher level of, this happiness this is a sincere healing process that you've gone through.
yeah,
And that's one of the reasons that I think we connected so well, is because when we have these when we've been through the darkness, let's just say that, and to
yeah,
be able to figure out how to find our way and create a different life for ourselves. We are two sisters that are making eye contact that have been there through the darkest days. And
yeah,
so for women who are watching, this isn't something that we say lightheartedly about how to say no for that better life and yes to how we can show up as a more powerful version. So I don't know
yeah,
if you have any nuggets or insight. I just really wanted women to understand. We know that there's this culture out there right now of toxic happiness, and that's not what we're talking about at all. It's
yeah,
during the darkest days, how do we then take those parts of our stories to really grow into what we were supposed to be doing? Do you have
yeah.
any nuggets for that?
Yeah, I think, as you hear, a little bit of my story today, and I hope you find the story in it. Um, the journey to discover who we are is very essential to our existence. It's what will cause you to live a more fulfilling life.
Mm,
Um, and I look forward to being more fulfilled and more, um, you know, uh, present with myself,
mm,
involved, very much in tune and in a place of satisfaction or to feel content
mm.
than I was
Yeah.
because I was just in that place of just looking everywhere but here. Just feeling like, okay, I wish I could do that, or I wish I could be here, or you find yourself, um, looking at other people, comparing yourself to others and
Hmm.
different. So a little bit about my journey growing up in West Africa, Liberia. We went through a civil war, and then we had to flee at some point to go to Ghana. So I lived in Ghana for a little bit, and then my parents, at some point left and they came to the U.S. So we were raised by multiple people in that sense. And the first person we're raised with was someone that wasn't family. She was just a family friend that my parents trusted. So that was another traumatic experience because at the time I thought I was the oldest because my older sister, we had not come to a knowledge of her yet.
Hmm.
Um, but I thought I was the oldest and I was about 10. And then my siblings were three of us at the time, because there's six of us total now, but there was three of us. And we went through a time of just, dealing with, this lady treating us like we were practically slaves, and just, having us labor and do different things that weren't age appropriate for a little kid to do. So going through all those things and going through all of that, and coming back to your question of what happened in that in recovering from all the traumatic things that I went through, was I had to connect with that little girl inside of me,
Mhm.
um, that person inside of me that went through so much
Yeah.
and went through all those things, and be able to, first of all, apologize to her for allowing her in times that I was not able to defend myself uh,
Yes.
too much. So first of all, allowing her to carry all those hurt for so long, but apologizing to her for the times that I could defend myself, but I was so broken that I couldn't.
Right.
So I had to apologize, to say sorry for allowing people to treat you this way, for allowing you to, say yes to everything, for putting yourself in places you're not supposed to be, for just not showing up and being okay with you.
Yeah.
Apologize. For a while, I had my picture on my phone, my younger picture, and I would just sit there and cry and just talk to her. And
Right.
it was a very scary thing to start doing, because I was just like, no one wants to sit there and talk to themselves. But it was really freeing. And then also, I had to sit down and deal with insecurities. Um, I had to
Mhm.
sit with insecurities, that why am I insecure? Where did it
Mhm.
come from?
Mhm.
How did it come about? Who said these things were issues?
Mhm.
Who come up? Who highlight? Because most of the time when you're broken, people have to say things like, someone could say, "Oh, your hair is not, thick enough,"
Mhm.
or this is, then you're carrying those voices inside of you for so long, and so who said my hair isn't thick enough? Who said I
Right.
don't have a longer hair enough? Or who said my nails is not as, long, whatever those little things that we have insecurity. Like, example, I went to college and my friends discover I have a big toe than most people. My biggest toe is very long. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's supposed to not be a big deal, but when it was identified, I found myself thinking,
Oh.
oh, this huge toe, I need to not wear slippers. I need to not show them off. But
Mhm.
then growing up as a younger kid, my dad used to say, oh, those are beautiful.
Yeah.
So his voice immediately, or his words immediately, was overshadowed with the negativity. So I hope I'm not going on a tangent here, but
No, you're good.
just dealing with those things, articulating the different issues I had,
Mhm.
different um, effect that my trauma and my past had, was a big deal. Writing down, I didn't have boundaries. I was very
Mhm.
uh, I was raised in a very controlling environment, so I
Yeah.
always want people to control me and tell me what to do, or else I don't know what to do. I grew up just like not having a voice. You couldn't really speak up for yourself. When you do, you're shut down. So I was very timid, and I couldn't say certain things. I shied away from expressing myself to my husband. Either I'm having an outburst or I'm not speaking up. So it was just very,
Mhm.
all had to be articulated. And those things I work with a coach, and
Right.
some of the Lord helped me discover them in my personal life, that I was sitting down and just helping myself. But it's a journey. It's a journey, and you need support doing it. So
Absolutely. Well, and I want to go back to one of the things you said that's so powerful. So Kristen is watching us and she said, getting rid of the it's selfish mentality is so key. You were talking about putting a younger picture of yourself on your phone and having, really, because you're a relationship coach, of really creating that relationship, and even just the having a conversation with the younger version of yourself. This part of simply saying no, there's a part of simply saying no, that I'm not going to blame that younger version of me, that I'm not going to hold a grudge, that I'm not going to be bitter about things that I did or didn't do when I couldn't do any differently than where I was. And so it's interesting, as adults, we can look back at so many of the memories. I know for me, I had to start releasing, and you're right, working with a coach is key. I had to start letting go of even some of the memories, because for
Yeah.
me, I felt I earned these memories. I have a right to keep them as powerful as they are. But as I started to let go of some of them, it really changed everything, because it's that monkey in with the fist in the candy jar. You can't hold on to good things if you're holding on so tightly to these other things. Bonnie also can relate about her foot. So the two of you can connect offline. So you're not alone with the toe. Yeah, but that part of just, we look at it where people say just say no or just say yes or whatever. But if we start to look at it holistically, and Rhoda, I love the stories that you've been telling today, because it just brings them to light in such a normal way. It's like, oh my goodness, this really strikes true. I am going to put a smaller picture of me. I have pictures of when I was really little, 3, 4, where I cried every time my photo was taken. And there's a part of me that I don't know if it's shame or what it is, but I look at that and I just feel so bad for that little girl, but I don't connect. I'm disconnected from the fact that that was also me.
Yeah. 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 It's something that shame is what comes out of going through a traumatic experience. I have my notes here that I was just gonna read some of the things I had to
Go
do,
ahead.
but
Mm-hmm.
just myself from all those things, I had to discover what are the best parts of me. What,
Oh, that's a challenge.
what
Ladies, can you list the best parts of you? Keep
yeah,
going, Rhoda. That's rich.
what are the best parts of me? And I had to sit down and say, okay, I am a peacemaker. I love people. Why do I love them?
Yeah.
And love myself. I am committed. I'm loyal. Why am I loyal? Am I loyal because I feel obligated,
Mm-hmm.
or I it's just something that brings me joy? And just different things. Like, I found myself growing up, people always say, "Oh, you talk too much," and I was always cut off all the time. And I went into this person of, I'm not going to say anything because I'm just trying to be polite. I'm not going to talk. And whenever I did talk, I was talking about deep stuff. And it was just like, yeah, we don't want to deal with our issues. Because
I can relate. Yeah.
our, our culture, most every culture is different, but our culture was heavily bound by religion and just control, and religion, control, and just focused on morals. And part of those morals were just, you don't act like you, I guess, you keep your family secrets,
Oh,
right?
yes.
You
Yes.
don't you
Mm-hmm.
never tell anybody about it. You don't. Part of the reasons why today I find a lot of women say, oh, my husband doesn't want to go to counseling, even though I want to go, because you're groomed, like I said, you're programmed to be this person. So let me go ahead and just read some of the layers I had to sit down with myself in discovering the best part of me. I had to tear down some layers that I have allowed um to govern me or to take over me. And I had to sit down and write, I release myself from shame. I release
Mm.
shame. I said, look at you, Rhoda. I release you from shame. You are not supposed to be covered in shame. You are beautiful. You have to speak over yourself. I release myself from doubt, I release myself from my personal doubt and the doubt that others have had about me.
Yes.
Other people doubt you, but it's worse when you doubt yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I release myself from fear, fear of failing, fear of messing up, fear of you put yourself in this place where we can't make mistakes. And fear is something that crippled me for so long. I had to release myself from different kinds of fear, different ways that I found that fear was keeping me bound. Um, Myself from perfection. You are allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to not you can't have it all together because that's what I was told. Hair, makeup, everything have to be perfect. You can, and one time in college, I remember I will have a 7 a.m. class, Barbara, and I will wait hours in advance, even if I stayed up all night to do everything had to be perfect
Right.
because I was a pastor's kid and we were just forced to, into this perfect picture. And one day I was sick and I had to come out of the dorms wearing some sweats and everyone was like, oh my God, we saw her without makeup. And I was
Yeah.
but that makeup, wearing all that makeup was just a way to cover up,
Yes.
and be the real self.
Cover up the pain, right? Let's just put it all behind some makeup so nobody knows what's really going on behind here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could go on, but there's so many things. Just releasing myself from poor image, self-image, how I am myself, how I just, people could give you compliment and you're ready to just kill it.
I love that.
Oh, you're beautiful. Well, you can't take a compliment. It's like, what is wrong with you? Are you okay? So, yeah, but that is, it goes deep. And like I said, the program have to be rewired. You have to go back in the back end and access, whatever access, which is rewiring your mindset, your mannerism, and then your relationships are healthier, your family are healthy, is healthy, your marriage, everything else starts to fall in place. So as I started discovering or being on this journey of rediscovering myself, I'm able to see the good things in my husband because
oh yeah,
I wasn't able to see that before. I'm just like, oh, you're so, I'm looking for things from my pain, things I've seen in my family, in my dad. And I'm like pinpointing and focusing on that instead of, seeing the good in him. So.
Well, and what we know is what we recognize in ourselves is what we see in others.
Yeah.
And so when you say about that, you're starting to see good things in him because you're seeing the good things in yourself too. And we all shine when we can see the good in others.
Yeah.
It's interesting because many of us were not modeled how to be encouraging and supportive, because I don't know what the numbers are. You've got a little one. The numbers are pretty astounding. The number of times we hear no when we're toddlers. No, don't, no, touch, no, no, no. And people are trying to keep us safe.
Yeah.
And so it's funny that we take that no that used to come naturally, because toddlers, you hear them say no all the time. They're like, no, it's one of the first words they learn to say.
No problem telling you no.
But then something happens as they grow older, and then we become that person who's afraid to say no. And so when we start looking for the good, back to that, we don't often have people that model it for us. I know, like, just I had met somebody last night and I texted them afterwards, like, what a great time I had with them. And I thought, it didn't take a lot of time, but it also made me feel better and it made them feel better that we made eye contact. But we're not modeled those types of behaviors. And so oftentimes we don't even think about it. And nowadays, when you reach out to somebody and just say something positive about the interaction that you had, it comes away as being remarkable.
Yeah.
Because of the time that it takes, but it doesn't. So as we're looking for finding more good in ourselves, we see it in others and we want others to see that for themselves too.
Yeah.
Kristen is saying releasing perfectionism is a tough thing, but so necessary and the only way to move forward. This has been a long-term struggle for her also. That list that we're going to have another conversation, Rhoda, because this is just so good. That list that you were going through. In fact, you know what? We need to have this conversation on Clubhouse where we can just talk about everything that we're going to be releasing, because it is saying no to shame. I'm not going to carry shame anymore. It was never meant for us to carry it. And when we come together as a group of women and you think about how heavy shame is on each and every one of us, I have goosebumps again. What if we all say no to carrying shame anymore? There's no reason for us to carry shame.
Yeah. Yeah. And even just sitting down, one of my drive is, just watching my daughter. And I told you I'm also a caregiver to girls. And it will kill me if they are just walking in shame,
Yeah.
walking in bondage. And I'm like, no, I want to be able to be the best version of myself for them.
Yeah.
I want, you talked about modeling, that good behavior modeling. We're changing our family line, we're changing our generation, we're changing
Yes.
our, leaving a legacy. And it's not about me anymore. Because once I have that mindset that my healing is very important, and it's valuable, that it doesn't just impact me today.
Right.
We're breaking those generational curses, and we're saying enough is enough. You're rising up, you're rising above the occasion, and you're saying, I'm not going to walk in shame like my grandma did. I'm not going to walk in shame like my mom did. Like, I am taking the stand to change things and to
Yes.
that will reap, even if it doesn't reap in me today to the fullest. My children will benefit from it. We are very passionate about leaving physical wealth, but this is priceless.
This is priceless. Yes, it really is. So
Yeah.
that is such for us to start saying no collectively. Because
Mhm.
honestly, Rhoda, if we have 100 women in a room together, we know 100% of us feel shame.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
doubt there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's start talking about, how to create wealth physically and just the ability for everything that we've been through to share joy with each other.
Yeah.
So this has gone fantastically. As you look down through, I know we had this list of questions. Is there anything else? I know we were talking about possibly 3 tips, but there's been so many nuggets. Kristen just said, mic drop, releasing ourselves is wealth.
Yeah.
Really is. Are there any other things that you really want to talk about today? You and I are going to reschedule another courageous conversation, and we're also going to continue this conversation on Clubhouse too. What else do you
Yeah.
have that you'd like to, for any parting words with women? And then the other thing too is, how do they get in touch with you? How could they continue to work with you?
Yeah. Yeah. I just want you to understand that, you're made for more. You are worth so much more. Proverbs 31, verse 10, that talks about, who can find a wife of a noble character. And if you can just take that small little scripture and just start meditating, her worth is far more than rubies.
Yeah.
Uh, just sit down and meditate on that today, and just think about, wow, my worth is far more.
Mm.
I am so valuable. I have so much to give. Because of you, so many things happen. And most of us, we end up driving ourselves to a place of getting sick or getting some kind of
Yeah.
illness, just because we're the way God created you and I, women, we are incubators. We're supposed to,
Mm.
um things, we bring life. We're life givers. And when we allow the trauma in us to
Mm.
incubate and to just, you know to just grow, I guess, to just cook for so long,
Yeah.
when we give birth, the things we give birth is very toxic. And no, we want to change that. We're supposed to give life, a healthier life. We're supposed to give meaning to things. We're supposed to connect the dots. We're supposed to, just breathe life on dry bones and dry things. So today, I'm just encouraging you to rise up
Yeah.
as the warrior that you are. You are valuable. Rise up from where you are and take a stand. Even if it's getting out of bed, to get out of bed today and realize you are not alone, because we all struggle, but also take that stand and pursue wholeness, pursue healing, because now it would change the pregnancy, the thing that you're carrying in your womb, because our womb incubates, and then we keep that thing. We're giving birth all the time. Not only kids. If you don't have a child, don't feel like you can give birth. You are giving birth daily, minute by minute. You are releasing things that could make or break a situation. Just take a stand, pursue your healing. Like I said, sit with yourself, discover those best parts of you, those great parts of you, those strength that you have, because our strength can also be our weaknesses. But discover those strengths, and then take those strengths and see how best you can set it up with healthy boundaries, just working on you saying no and becoming the best part of you, so that you can change your family line. And just as a gift today, whoever is watching, I want to offer you a 30-minute session with me. If you call me today, you get a free, or DM me, not call, but DM me, or me on Instagram or Facebook. You get a free 30-minute session of, we're going to work on a system to help you say no. And you can take that system and just put it anywhere. And this way you're empowered to say no. I prioritize myself. I am saying no. I want to have boundaries. I free to be able to say, no, I can't do that. No, I'm sorry. And you're choosing you every time you do that. So you can reach me on Facebook. I'm Rhoda Omejia on Facebook. I'm Rhoda Omejia on Instagram. And then I on my Instagram, there's a link tree that have all the things that I do. So that will be me.
And we'll also put down in the comments all of our handles for how you can find us even on Clubhouse, because we have these, oh gosh, Bonnie said, set your boundaries by saying no. Brenny said, such a wise and powerful conversation. It's been amazing today, Rhoda. It really is about stepping bravely, courageously into who you are supposed to be. And when we don't do that, when we hold ourselves back, when we say, no, I'm not going to become a more powerful version of ourselves, it really does affect us and everyone around us.
Yeah.
It's true, when we start stepping out, there's some growing pains, because the people around us are used to us being in a certain role, right? So there's some growing pains, but it is such a beautiful life. And you and I both know, one of the fantastic things about being an entrepreneur is we don't know what every day or every week is going to bring. There's surprises all the time that just bring so much joy. You had said a word earlier about content. And I think contentment is at the root of so many things that we do to sabotage ourselves. And so when we start stepping into, even though it's scary as heck sometimes, but when we start stepping into what's possible for us, contentment does start to become a part of our life.
Yeah.
So yes, do follow up with Rhoda, or follow up with Sisters Rocking Courage. I have one more thing to say, and why you should follow up with Rhoda is because we can't do this alone, ladies. We really do need somebody who's been a step or two ahead of us to help us, guide us, and really give us the support and encouragement that we need sometimes. I say all the time with the women I work with, I think they're going to surpass me, because I'm the one making the mistakes. And so I can tell them how to take the easy pass express lane. But yeah, this has been amazing. We will, Rhoda, we'll figure out when we're going to do a Clubhouse room. And we'll also put that in the notes below, but do call her. She is genuine through and through. So thank you for spending this time together. It's been an honor for me, Rhoda.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I love talking to you, and particular, but all of you out there, much love.
Yes. Yes. And until next time, we'll let you know when Rhoda and I are going to be back again. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.